Welcome. I'm Dr. Brent Kay, founder and CEO of the World Champion Standard, and I created this program for you, for somebody that wants to improve their health, fitness, athletic performance, or even become a world champion athlete. Over the last 30 years, I've worked with well over 100 world champion athletes in a number of different sports in a variety of capacities. I've coached them, I've trained with them, I've competed against them. Of course, I've provided medical care for them. And I've been there. I've been there when they've won it all, and I've been there when they've lost it all. And I can tell you their secrets are what make them the very best. And through the eyes of medical science, we take a deep look at these secrets. And when we do, we find out there are guiding principles to these athletes' success. And these are the same principles that can guide you to your very best self, whether it's your health, fitness, or athletic performance. We lean heavily into these underlying principles, and we present them in an understandable, practical, and useful manner. Take a look as we move forward. All right, let's jump right into it. The next two slides will be an overview of the program, and the program is for everybody, and it's a wide-ranging look at all the things that make world champion athletes the very best, and also the same things, the guiding principles that can make you your very best. It's presented in a video-on-demand program with over 30 lectures, 30 different subjects, with over 150 videos. And in our inaugural course, we're offering the Athletic Performance Specialist program and certification as a bonus. And here we go. Here's the nuts and bolts. Open registration March 1st. Our first certification exam is June 6th, and then the second one, the fall, October 17th. These exams are optional. We also have review courses May 11th and May 18th. We will schedule review courses for the fall exam as well. And you can sign up at any time. You have 365 days access. And you can see the pricing here. The pricing, if you include the certification exam and review course, is $1,695. But for the inaugural course, we're offering everything for one fee, $495. So let's take a little deeper look at how we do it. And first off, everything we do is presented in an understandable, practical, and useful manner. This is what I've been doing for the last 30 years, educating athletes on complicated medical and scientific information. You've got to be able to understand this, and then it's got to be practical. It's got to be something you can use, and then we create strategies to make it useful. And so much of it is about making things easier. We try to create new concepts. We try to change the way you think about things. And we just try to keep it simple. It's just like getting a longer lever here. We want to get more leverage. We want to make lifting that weight easier. And whether that weight is in your training or in your personal life or in your work life, your finances, whatever it is, like I say, we want to create leverage. We want to make things easy. And then we want to create this massive foundation for success in everything we do. Training, nutrition, recovery, and most important, in our daily lives. If we look here, the pillars, with this foundation, these massive pillars of success. Because this is where world championships are won, and this is where you'll make your way to your very best self. And here's an overview of how we do it. We have three main areas. Life in the jungle, that's our training, nutrition, recovery section. Medical school from the street, that's where we teach you all about how your body works, how your body really works. I believe everybody has the right to know how their body really works. And then rising from the ashes, this is my exercise pathophysiology section. I created exercise pathophysiology to look at what happens from the time you complete a workout or competition until you train or compete again. That period where you get so sore you can't stand up, so tired you can't wake up, and so irritable and fatigued you can't even make yourself care. We look deep inside our bodies. We look deep inside our hormonal cascades, inflammatory mediators, in a variety of different areas, but most importantly, we come up with ways to treat these, to prevent these, and to get you out of that hole as soon as possible. And this is the same hole. There's a lot of correlates between the stress you get under heavy physical training and the stress that you get at work or in your family life, in your personal relationship, in your finances. And we lean heavily into these principles to find the ways out and find quick ways out of these holes that we all get in, because nobody has it easy. Everybody struggles. Everybody has things going on that they have to deal with, and they've got to, come up with a resolution quickly to get back on top. Here's a look at our Life in the Jungle, training, nutrition, and recovery. Everybody wants a pretty printout of a training program, and they think that's the key. That's just so far away from what it takes to be a world champion athlete. And I call it Life in the Jungle because it's much more like getting dropped off here in the middle of the Amazon forest and trying to make your way to civilization than a pretty perfect picture, perfect printout from the internet, from AI, of how you're going to accomplish these goals that you have. Sure, we all need good training programs, but the fact that these things are easily accessible and they're free should tell you something. It should tell you that's not the most important part. Sure, we want to have a good program, but the most important part is what you do every moment of your life, because getting to the top and finding your way to your very best self is a 24/7, 365 game. I like this avalanche idea. You'd have a much better chance at winning a game of chess in an avalanche than you would by becoming world champion with a program that you printed out from the internet. And our rising from the ashes, this is our exercise pathophysiology. This is all about inflammation, inflammatory mediators, hormonal changes. Inflammation literally means to catch on fire. And that's what happens inside our bodies when we train hard. And we undergo, the challenges of life, the stresses of life. It's all about these inflammatory mediators. And like I said, we create ways to understand it, prevent it, and treat it. Because when this wave of inflammation hits, and it will hit regularly, you've got to be prepared, and you've got to have a plan. And then in our medical school from the street, we look deep inside the human body. We lean heavily on the field of medicine to get the real answers and no guesswork. It's just like when your muscles are really sore, I'm still amazed at how many people think it's lactic acid. I hear that over and over again. But it's not lactic acid. Here's a biopsy of a really sore muscle. And you can see all this red over here. That's blood. Okay, here's normal muscle tissue in the middle. All these purple dots are pus, white blood cells. And so when your muscles are sore, it's because they're torn, bleeding, and full of pus. And there's no lactic acid there. Not at all. Yeah, another great slide from medical school from the street. So why do we tell people, why are athletes told not to train when they're coughing? Well, this is why. We can look inside. We can see what it does. You keep training and competing when you're coughing, and it's just like you're ripping the scab off a wound. And you do that over and over, and this thing could take months to heal. It could take the whole year to heal. You could ruin not only a cycle of training, you ruin the whole year of training. End up with scar tissue there with chronic, persistent problems. Not to mention the fact that if you train with a real bad case of bronchitis, respiratory tract infection, you drive all that virus and bacteria straight into your heart. And here we go, another muscle biopsy, heart muscle biopsy, which means this didn't turn out well. And you can see the same thing. This is just full of inflammation, full of pus. And you end up with a damaged heart. You end up, if you survive, you can end up with a severely damaged heart that is irreversible, scarred for life. And so this condition of myocarditis, inflammation and scarring of the heart, we see it right here. This is scar tissue. That used to be muscle. That's never turned into muscle again. That's permanent damage. And in our critical decision model, one of the defining characteristics of world champion athletes is this mathematical idea of a negative times a negative is a positive. And world champion athletes, when they get to the top, they typically make the least amount of mistakes. And that's usually because they've made the most amount of mistakes during their career, and they've learned from those. And so we look at that, this negative, not choosing or not making a bad decision, another negative, as a huge positive. And our brains aren't really wired to think that way. But when you look at it and you look deeply at it and you look at our critical decision-making model, you'll look much deeper into some of the choices you make, because it's these bad decisions that kill us all, that kill our training. We end up getting sick. We end up getting injured. We just make poor choices, and particularly under heavy training stress, your body's more susceptible to these poor choices. And so it's the absence of these poor choices that, once again, is really a big defining characteristic of world champion athletes. And we'll look at other things. This fear of missing out is just everywhere right now. And you put yourself in a position of weakness, and it's a severe handicap when you're always worried, when you're always scouring. There's always got to be something else I need, or I need to do, or something I need to change. But we'll look deep into this. Again, in our critical decision-making model, we'll look at these cognitive biases that we all have and how they affect the decisions that we make. And we'll talk about how it really works, at a neurological and a cognitive manner. I mean, here, I love this line. There's a million fools lined up to get the next batch of snake oil. They're lined up. They got the doctor's offices down here. Meanwhile, where all the information is and the truth is, the public library, there's not a single soul either in or standing in line. And one of our big goals is to try to synchronize everything in your life. Everything has to work together. Once again, 24/7, 365. And so we can see here, look at the synchronization pattern on the left. And then you see all these spikes. These are all the distractions of daily life. These are toxic thoughts, toxic people, places, things. And so we try to synchronize and create a harmony between all the different aspects of your life. Because that's ultimately the path to your very best self. But time is running out. Just look at the hourglass here. Think of every grain of sand here as one moment in your life. One moment. Are you going to waste it? Or is it going to be one more moment? We look at every moment in your life as just one more chance to get better. And that's how we approach it. It's like, it's never too late to be who you could have been. Like, get on it now. Time's running out. And pull from a little bit of my track and field days. There's a saying, particularly a big group of runners on the track. It's like, commit and go, or commit and stay, or just get the you-know-what out of the way. Thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed our introductory videos. Check us out at theworldchampionstandard.com. Thank you.